Hello guys, and welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. Now, we are in uncertain times, as you guys know, but uncertain times mean we have to do what we can to get our hobby fixes. Now, at the moment, obviously I can't be out gaming, but I've recently just painted up all my Burrows and Badgers stuff. Now, you guys have been asking us to do more Burrows and Badgers content, and trust me, if the world ever goes back to normal, Burrows and Badgers will be heavily featured. But for now, I thought I'd show you my warband. Now, it's mainly made up of snakes, frogs, and toads. So I thought I'd show you guys it, and you could look at it and go, that's an army. Now, full disclosure, my lead is still being painted up. I will show it at the end. But as this is a showcase of some of the models that you can get, it seems like, yeah, it's just, I'll show you that at the end, but it's not fully painted. So here's my secondary to start off, which is a tortoise. What I will make sure to do is I will put all the links in the description down below for each individual model so you can get them yourselves. Now, as I said, this is my tortoise, and I'm really going to have to get myself like a little lazy Susan or whatever they're called so I can spin the model around and show you the back. But I've obviously gone with a very Roman aesthetic because his shield was very Romanesque. I've gone for some sort of paler greens. I tried to keep my warband for Burrows and Badgers very realistic looking. Obviously, as much as you can with anthropomorphic models. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them around and we're going to have a look. So this is the back of the shell, clearly. And you can see the reds continued on the cloak and the gold and the silver. Now, throughout a lot of my warband, you'll see that red is quite a recurring colour. I haven't used it on everything, but I've tried where possible to get a little bit of red on most things. So yeah, this is my second, as I said. Next thing we're going to look at is one of my toad mages. So I'll get him out for you guys now. So here he is. Here's my toad. Again, he's got some red on him. He's gone with the greens, which matches up with my toads. With my frogs, and it also matches up with the greens of the tortoise. He's got that kind of bow. He's got his bone weapon with him. Now, I'm not running through my actual list in this video. We are going to do another video where we cover what my starting list would be. But that's going to be more closer at the time when we're actually able to game and you can see, obviously, all the other guys who are going to be in our campaign. So I'll just show you the back of him and then we'll move on to the next toad. So here's the back of my toad. As you can see, it's very toad-like. I was tempted to pick out the warts in a sort of a different colour, but when I was messing around with it, none of them felt right to me, so I kept it very in keeping with the skin. You'll see that kind of tanny style brown a lot throughout my warband, and then it's a Space Wolf grey for his I forgot what they're called. That keeps his ammo and stuff on. I should know this being a massive Western fan, and it will come to me by the end of the video, potentially. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll have a look at the next toad before we go on to the frogs. So this is my favourite of my toads, and he's got a little handbag, and I think it's adorable. And I think from now on, all toads should have handbags. And I've gone with a reddy colour for that as well, so it matches in with my other stuff. Sorry about my creepy hands, but I just thought I'd show you the bag in more detail. And again, I've gone for like the tans and the browns for him. Now, the thing I get asked a lot with my Burrows and Badgers is what do I base them with? Now, I've made up my own little mixture, which is some porridge oats, some oregano, a little bit of sand, and I bought a pack of reindeer food for Christmas for the boys to give out to the reindeers. But they weren't that hungry, so we had loads left over, so I mixed that in as well. So every now and then you'll get like these little tiny bits of star and things like that, which I paint to look like leaves. But that's where these bases come from. So I'll just spin this round and you'll be able to see the base there. But yeah, so it gives like more of a woodland effect, because I figured my guys aren't going to be living in like lush grass and things like that. So my guys are more from the forest areas. But yeah, we'll go along now, and I did say we were going to look at frogs first, but I think we'll look at our snakes before that, because snakes are awesome. So this is my very, very simple black adder named Edmund, and he's adorable. It was really, really simple to paint, of course. All it is black with gradual grey dry brushes and then a very, very white dry brush for the end. And then I coated it with a very watered down black contrast paint to try and take away some of the edge on that. Because of the lights of my light box, it looks like the highlights are a lot more prominent than they are. Again, you can see it's the same basing style, and then you can see there's some reds and things like that. Now with the staff, I just used some basic Games Workshop blues, but I used a Secret Weapon blue wash, and I'm a really big fan of the Secret Weapon washes, and that gave it that kind of glow colour. Again, it probably looks a bit glowier than it does in real life because of the lights on my light box. But yes, so let's have a look at my other snake now. So this is my snake, and this was the snake that led my first ever warband. As you can see, he's armoured, which is pretty cool. His colours are different because it was for a different warband, but I just really like this model, so I try and feature him wherever possible. There's not much to him. Now, all of these models are Oathsworn models, and I really like them. I think their whole range is fantastic. I do want them to have more frogs and toads. Hint, hint, if you guys are watching. But it's not the end of the world. They've got a decent range up so far, and they're always doing Kickstarters. What I'm going to start to do is whenever they've got a new Kickstarter coming up, I am going to do a video on it, because some people don't even know about the company, and that's a tragedy. And if we can just highlight, hey, there's a Kickstarter, and maybe 1 or 2 people watch, it's 1 or 2 people who might pay to back the Kickstarter. But yeah, so they kickstart each round of models, and it's a really good way to do it because they're a small independent company. It's essentially just 2 of them. I believe they're man and wife. I really hope they are, because if they're like brother and sister or something like that, no, I know they're not. But I would have really embarrassed them. Or embarrassed myself. So what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at one of the frogs from one of the Kickstarters first before we look at the basic frog. So let's have a look at this. So here we have him. Again, the lights are really making him a lot brighter. I can't get that. There, you can see his greens and stuff. It's a lot darker when my hand blocks out some of that light. I'm still just getting used to the light box, so I do apologise for that, guys. But we've gone with the red. We've got some blues to tie him in more with. Some of the bits on the toads and some of the other frogs and stuff like that. As you can see, it's not as bright as it looks. We've got some yellows on there as well. Yellow isn't a colour that fed particularly in with my warband. However, I just felt he needed it because he's got that smug air of nobility about him, as all frogs should have. So, next thing we're going to look at is my 3 frogs. Now, these are identical frogs, and I painted them different to stand out. Now, I've tried to make their skins different as well. What I will do is I'll just throw the 3 of them in together, because there's no point looking at them individually, really. So, here we have them. As you can see, I've got 3 separate ones there. Now, a lot of people ask why I've got 3 of this model, and it was because originally I was doing an all frog and toad list, and at the time he was the only frog model you could get, so thus I have 3. But I really, really like him, so he is a mainstay within any warband I do, or they are a mainstay. The first one that was painted was my red one, and he was painted those colours because it was around Christmas time that I got him, so he was like a Santa frog. And the other 2 were just painted in similar colours to what I'd used on the rest of the warband. As I said, I'm a big, big fan of these. I think they're fantastic sculpts. Would I like a couple more? Maybe so. Hint, hint, once again. I'm subliminally putting that in there. But yeah, I'll flip them around. We can have a look at the back. It's not a lot to them, but it's a really, really nice sculpt. And I definitely recommend if you want some frogs, this is one of the ones you should be looking at. So here you have it. That's the back. And again, there's not much to them. A couple of little pouches. One thing that I really love about the Oathsworn models is they have extra little details on them. A couple of pouches here, a weapon there, you know, a belt, some little trinkets, things like that. The hats have obviously the little rope bit around them, but they're not too much. I mean, I play 40k, as most people who are into wargaming does, and if you buy anything like a new Primaris Marine, they've got like 4,000 tiny little trinkety bits of detail on them. And it's just too much, and it's boring to paint. These strike that balance between each character has a lot of individuality, but at the same time, they're a joy to paint. You don't get bogged down painting 200 little buckles or, you know, you guys know what I mean. Next thing we're going to look at is my Skink, and then we'll move on to my mouse burglar, which you get free with the rulebook. And then at the very end, we'll have a look at my leader, who's half done, and you guys can shame the fact that he's not fully. So this is my Skink, and he's very, very different from the rest of my warband. And I especially did him so because I wanted him to stand out. He's a rare model, so you're only going to ever have one Skink anyway, much like the Tortoise, unless they bring out, you know, an expansion that changes that. So for him, I wanted him to really stand out. So he's a really cool lizard. I give him some sort of bright green colours, so he does vaguely tie with the others, but then he's got that yellow stripe down the back and some black detailing. He's got, of course, the armour and stuff on. He's a really, really nice model. Yeah, there's not much more to say about him, really. Now, one thing I will mention before we obviously look at the free model that comes with every copy of the hardback rulebook if you buy it direct from Oathsworn, or if you buy it at one of the trade shows or gaming conventions that they're at, you'll get this model, and it's a gorgeous little model. I think each of these models were about £5 or less. And again, I'll put the links in the description so you can check them out yourself. But they're not expensive models, considering the level of detail on them. I'm a big fan. Clearly that's evident, not just from the fact that I play the game and I'm starting to redo videos on the game, but the fact that I actually have these guys painted. You have watched my channel, or our channel, you know how bad we are for getting models painted, except Sparks and Nate. They're machines and we don't speak of it. But yeah, you see a lot of unpainted stuff. But I think definitely Vince and definitely I have got all of my stuff painted, bar my leader. And the reason that I haven't got the leader painted yet was because he was one of the newer models, and he wasn't in my warband before. As I said, my snake led it. But yeah, so I'll stop waffling now and we'll have a look at the moose. So this is my little mouse, and as you can see, my light box really blocks out a lot of the colour. Blinds a lot of the colour to him. Look at that. Shing. But yeah, so I've gone with like a bluey colour so he fits with the others, but he's also clearly not of the same ilk. Now, yes, I will at some point do my own little mouse faction, but I kind of wanted him in there because he's a thief. I figure with my guys, my Toad... She's a beast. She's absolutely fantastic when you see this model. But yeah, there are times when she's going to need somebody to sneak in and do the jobs that we don't want to get blamed for, essentially. And so that's where this little guy comes in. She hires him when needed. He's not part of the warband as such, but occasionally he will, if we've got the pennies, he will fight alongside us. So yeah, now they are all my painted stuff at the moment. Now I've got some unpainted stuff which I'm not going to show in this video because they're from previous Kickstarters and things like that, and I won't show them off till they're painted. But we are going to have a look at my Battletoad because it's amazing. It's an amazing model. I know I'm only halfway through painting it, but you can at least get the gist of where I'm going with it. So we'll have a look. So here we have her, and she's absolutely astonishing. Look at that. Now I've gone, and it's a very specific look, I've gone for the skin to be very similar to the bone. As you can see, the bone actually has detailing and shading on, as my lightbox would not have you believe. But I've gone for keeping my skin of her very similar to the armour, because I work on the principle that she's been in this armour for so long. And frogs and toads are known to adapt to their surroundings and to their environments and things like that. Not in every case, obviously just in cases. That she's kind of, her skin is sort of toning to match, so it's more of a camouflage. And then she's got like the brown sort of foxy style coat. Again, once it's finished, it will have more of a red to it. And then she's got her red shield, which is going to have some bits of green and things like that on, because I want it to tie in with the rest of them. But she is adorned mainly in bones. There's going to be lots of bones and browns. Again, not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but I really love this sculpt, so I thought I'll just show it off as an honorary mention. It'll probably get a video of its own when it's finished. So you can see there's still a lot to do. I haven't done the tongue. I need to pick out the detailing, choose an eye colour. I also need to choose what colour I'm going to do for the weapon. And then I need to finish it off, because this isn't even like a final highlighting stage. It's had some dry brushing and it had a bit of edge highlighting here and there. But for the most part, it's a way off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you one last shot of all the models together. And then I'm going to gush for a little bit longer and then let you guys go, because I appreciate it. It's been a bit of a long video, but I am pretty passionate about these, so I just... So yeah, I thought I'd finish it off with a group shot. Again, you can see they're different. Each is an individual model. These guys aren't meant to be a cohesive army or unit. They're clearly scoundrels and rogues and on the fringe of society, but there are little colours that tie them in together. If I was going to say something, and that was if you were on the fence about whether or not you wanted to try Burrows and Badgers, it's a very cheap game to get into. Only needs a couple of models. I'd say 4 or 5. I know obviously I've got more there, but it's as my warband expands, I want to be able to add extras in. So yeah, you're only looking at sort of 4 or 5 models. You need 3, I think it is. A leader, a second, and 1 other. I think that's right. I'm currently rereading through a lot of rule books because lockdown, basically, to study up for a load of different games, for loads of content that we've got coming once lockdown's done. But yeah, so you don't need many models. But if you wanted to just try it, pick up the rulebook. You can get it as a PDF, or you can order the official rulebook. They're still working as things stand, as in they're still producing, because they work from, I'm assuming, like a workshop in their home or near their home. But yeah, they're still going. I've ordered models since lockdown and got them, so that's brilliant news. So you guys can too, and they're working safely, and that's the main thing. But you can pick up the rulebook, or you can get it as a PDF. And check it out and just try it with some of your own models. Now, what I would say is it's a very good rule set, but it's a complex rule set. When I've tried to teach it to younger people, they haven't grasped it maybe as easy as some of the other games we play. But don't be discouraged. Drop out a few little things, and the game works really well. At some point, I might even do a video on a simplified version of the rules that we've used when showing it to people for the first time and things like that. But it's a fantastic rule set. It's very in-depth. There's a lot of really cool mechanics and techniques to it. As you can see, I'm really passionate about the models. If I was to speak to any of the other guys we've got on the channel, obviously they would also sing the praises of these models. One of us backs every Kickstarter we do, usually Liam, if I'm honest, but... No, but there's always one of us backs it. I think Liam backed one, Sparks backed one, and Nate backed one, I believe. Maybe Vince. But yeah, so they've been backed, and then we like go, oh, well, can you order me that model? So we get the models we want, and we'll always try and back the Kickstarter because we're a big fan of the company. But yeah, guys, these are my Burrows and Badgers. As lockdown lifts, we're going to get some games on. I might do a very quick how to play video. Not that I'm an expert, I mean, but also they're a one-man band, as I said, or a two-man band in this case. So they can't get the time to do the videos at any kind of speed. They have got a YouTube channel, and I will link it below. And there is a really good video on how to create your warband, and hopefully, as they get more time, they'll get more videos. But hopefully you guys will watch this video, and you'll put in a big order, each of you, and then they're not going to have any time, because... yeah, they'll be busy selling models, which is exactly what they want to do and what they need to do to keep the game growing. And I want to keep the game growing. So yeah, that's my waffle. Play Burrows and Badgers. As always, guys, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Check the links below. Join the Facebook group for Burrows and Badgers. It's a really friendly community. Loads of really good inspiration for posts and painting. And the guys who own the game are actually on the forum as well, or group as well. So they'll reply to things if you've got any rules queries. If you need any help with anything, they'll also be there to answer those for you. Big fan. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Tell your friends, family, neighbours. What else are you going to do? You're on lockdown, most presumably. This video will not age well in a couple of years when lockdown has been and gone. Hopefully. My fingers are crossed for that anyway. But yeah, guys. Pray to dice gods. Hope to smile upon you. And take care. Toodles.